Indicator 4 displayed proficient use of the mother tongue, Filipino, and English to facilitate teaching and learning. It is crucial to ensure that all students can participate in discussions, especially when English is the medium of instruction. We should not assume that silence implies a lack of understanding or unwillingness to answer. Stephen Krashen's research highlights the existence of a silent period for new English learners, during which they may be hesitant to communicate orally. Therefore, it is essential to provide a wait time to allow learners to comprehend questions in English and formulate responses in the same language before resorting to other languages, promoting inclusive communication. The key concept that we need to take into consideration in this indicator is proficient use. How are we going to manifest this in our lesson? First, proficient use of mother tongue, Filipino, and English is the ability of the teacher to use the medium of instruction clearly, accurately, and fluently to facilitate the teaching and learning process. In order to achieve this, teachers can make use of the following communication strategies, which was taken from the PPST Resource Package, Module 14, page 9. First is context clues. These are hints or information that can help the learner understand the meaning of a difficult word or phrase. These hints or information can be a synonym, antonym, example, or definition. Now, context clues are hints or information within a text that will help readers or our learners understand the meaning of difficult words or phrases. So, for example, in Filipino class, a teacher might encounter the word malamlam in a text and then use the surrounding sentences to explain its meaning. Then we have paraphrasing, a restatement or recasting of original statement in another form or other words, usually to simplify the meaning of the text. So paraphrasing involves rephrasing an original statement in simpler words or a different form to clarify its meaning. In an English class, for example, a teacher might paraphrase the sentence, "The cat chased the mouse," into "The mouse was pursued by the cat." Then we have verbal cue. Prompts in the form of concise phrases that are used to indicate a need for a response or reaction from the listeners. Verbal cues are concise prompts used to elicit responses or reactions from the learners. For example, during a discussion in a history class, a teacher might use a verbal cue like, "What do you think happened next?" This is to encourage them to participate and share their thoughts. Then we have funneling. It involves starting with a general question and then going down to a more specific point in each question in order to gather more and more details. So funneling involves starting with a broad or general question and then we progressively narrow it down to gather more specific details from our learners. For example, in a science class, a teacher could begin with a general question, "What is photosynthesis?" and then funnel down to more specific questions like, "What are the key components involved in photosynthesis?" Then we have structural analysis. This is dividing a word into parts to understand or get the meaning of the difficult word. Structural analysis involves breaking down a word into parts to understand the meaning of a complex or unfamiliar word. Say, for example, in an English class, if a student encountered the word unbelievable, the teacher might explain that it's composed of un, which is the prefix meaning not, and believable, meaning able to be believed. So, unbelievable means not able to be believed. Then we have visual imagery. The forming of images or objects in the mind of the learners as they read or listen. The teacher can use rich and stimulating words and expressions to help learners activate their prior knowledge in order to help them form visual images in their minds. This process helps the learners better understand the reading and listening texts. For example, in a literature class, a teacher might describe a scene from a novel vividly using descriptive language to help students visualize the setting and characters. Then we have sentence frame. Sentence frame is a method of scaffolding that teachers can use to help learners formulate a comment or a response in sentence form. The teacher states an incomplete sentence and the learners will provide the missing words. Sentence frames are incomplete sentences provided by the teacher to assist students in formulating their responses or comments. For example, in a language class, the teacher might provide the sentence frame, I enjoyed blank because blank. This is to help students express their opinions about a particular book that they have read. Then we have, last is translation. It is the use of language to understand or interpret the meaning of a word from another language. This involves using one language to interpret or understand the meaning of words or phrases in another language. For example, in English class, a teacher might use translation to help students understand a complex English word by providing its equivalent in their mother tongue.